Monarch Miracle Mix. Okay, got 20 yards. This is what's going on my new batch of plants. These are the small, these are the babies. Okay, you can see there's some in these trays. Some trays do really well. Approximately 1/2 inches, my hand. So you can get a height of how big the plants are. Okay, we have quite a few trays of these plants. Some of them look a little red or orange, and if you look closely on there, that's because we're moving into a winter cycle. Okay, and as these, all miracle fruit, these have been growing in the pot for one season. And if you can see, there are several thousand of them as well. So, and it's really more like a 1/2 gallon size pot. Here's my hand. Okay, you can see you got 1, 2, and pretty much 3 heights on it. Okay, there are new growth and whatnot, but you're still going to see a little bit of spot on all of the plants for now because it's winter. There's some more miracle fruit. These are what I was selling for you as mediums. Okay, these are our typical mediums, which actually should all be stepped up to be larges soon, or this year already. And if you can tell, let's look at one of it away from things. Okay, pretty much what they look like. They're approximately a little over 3 feet. They're around 3 feet tall, and there are several thousand of them as well. Okay, and let me show you the difference between good soil and according to the recipe. All of these plants are the same age. These plants right here on this pallet are all the same age. See these little things? That are a lot of weeds, and the plants are like look like heck. Those are plants that had a wrong mix where the soil manufacturer did not take responsibility. Once we realized what was going on, and we did this test last season, we added some good soil just on top of it, my miracle soil, and that's one that has the regular soil. This is one that has the soil that was just straight from the manufacturer, the mix that wasn't our mix, because they didn't follow the recipe. So there's the difference in following a recipe and not following a plant. You know, looked exactly like this one 6 months ago. So 6 months of growth in a good soil, even though it wasn't fully incorporated, it just had the top layer of soil added to what we had. It made that much of a difference. I just want to do a close-up of some of the mediums, and this is what we're typically sending out. As you can see, this is what the foliage looks like. There's, you know, very few, if any, damage or any spots, but if you do see some plants, we'll have a little. Of course, you know, before we ship those out, we do remove those leaves and cut them back, because, you know, we don't use any type of harmful chemicals with any of our mixes. But this is the, you know, a general plant of what we have. You know, it's approximately 3 feet tall, fits in a FedEx triangle box, and looks pretty good. That's exactly what we're sending out. This is what the leaves look like. You know, they're not moist leaves, because that's not how miracle fruit grows, but, you know, they're not crinkly or anything like that. And we do have new growth coming within the next couple weeks on these plants again. Our temperatures have gone down, and we've had no rain whatsoever in a couple weeks, so we're under irrigation now. But as you can see, you know, whenever there's an order, we just come out here and we take a few minutes and try to find the best plant possible. You know, we're not going to send out a plant that looks like that has funky looking leaves, or anything that's been eaten by too much bugs or has a bunch of spot. But any leaf on a miracle fruit can turn to this pretty quickly, because even though these plants don't like to drop a lot of leaves, if you look on the ground, there's not a lot of leaf litter for the amount of plants. But when they do decide to drop leaves, this is what happens. They stop sending nutrients to the leaf, it gets spotty, it turns different color, and it falls off, you know, quite a bit later. What's going on? Keep an eye on miracle fruits. Anyway, these are our normal production plants. They're approximately 4 feet tall, a little bit larger than that. And even now, in the as we're getting close to winter, you can see that they are trying to set more fruit. You know, those are not falling down, and there is some fruit forming on these plants. We might get into another picking harvest time, even though it's December. Well, just starting to December right now. These are our jumbo size plants, I guess. They're in 25 gallons with their own special drip irrigation. And even though they're the same exact age as the plants down there that are literally half the size, this is one extra season in a larger pot with our special soil. And for December, to have, you know, fruits ready to be picked on these plants, there's quite a few with fruits, and you can see just how many new places that you can have fruits coming by the end of this month, unless we get a frost. Plants look super healthy. They are approximately 5 foot tall, and they've doubled in size. If you look at my thumb here, okay, you know, the caliper of them is, you know, as thick as a quarter now, or even bigger than that. So it's pretty much, they've doubled in caliper, which is really indicative of the health of these plants for 1 year. But even in a super healthy plant, you know, they're going to have red leaves or whatever. As the leaves die, they'll turn a color, and then they'll start to be able to fall off, and they become leaf litter. And we use that as we recycle that for their growing as well. But you know, the plants, you know, typically all sync up and produce fruit at the same time. You're going to find some fruits out, you know, a couple weeks early, just a little bit, but most of the time it's just all together. You know, within that same 10-day period, you're going to have, you know, 95% of the fruits. Anyway, so here's my hand, and you know, this is the height reaching up. So some of these are, you know, they're, you know, 6 feet tall or more, and they've only been in this special soil, you know, wholly for, you know, probably 12 months, if that. And this is just some fruit forming in a bunch of clusters, and you can see that they're going to form into fruit if you can touch them and they don't fall apart, or, you know, that one fell apart, fell down, that one's not going to grow into a fruit, but all the rest, they are going to form into fruit. So we're going to have a tremendous amount of fruits. Each of these plants, when they get approximately this size, I'd say this is like a 7 to 8 year old plant, maybe. Yeah, you know what, with our special soil, you can probably reach this in 6 years, but it's as thick as a quarter in caliper, nice growth, tremendous amount of sites where you'll have fruit pretty much on, you know, everywhere. This plant could easily generate, you know, 200 fruits to be picked just in a 10-day period, and they typically will fruit several times in a year. But there's some from a distance. There's a dog.